Hey dolls, it's Rochelle, and I'm checking in with my girl Cammie at First Class TV.
All right, you all, welcome back to the Trensetta Lounge right here on Hits 92.3 and Roku. For those who are tuning in visually, we have a very special guest in the building, and we're going to get right into this conversation with David Pablo. Well, he goes by David Pablo, right? But Deonte is his legal name, y'all. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the Trensetta Lounge.
So appreciate you having me.
Yes. So let's get right into the conversation,
Okay.
right? I want you to tell us about who you are, what you do. Before we get into all that, I want you to take us back to your beginnings because I was reading up on your story. I think you have an amazing story. It tells like about perseverance and just that like life is not, a straight path.
Absolutely.
But I mean, of course, everybody goes through their changes, but I think yours is very unique. So let our viewers know a little bit more about, where you come from.
I'm come from Flint, Michigan. I was raised in Flint, Michigan, and born in Louisiana, raised in Flint, Michigan, and growing up in Flint, Michigan, I like you say, had a couple challenges like the typical adolescents would not, but Flint is different. I don't know if a lot of people know about Michigan, but as you know, we nationally made the news for the water being poisoned and things like that. But other than just that, Flint itself is a type of a system that was set up to like raise the youth to get training to work in General Motors. So as I came up, by the time I got old enough, General Motors was closed. So, a lot of the youth was mistrayed because now we don't understand the opportunities we have to advance ourselves beyond just getting a job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, so I come from Flint, and I had a daughter when I was 15.
Right.
So that's what really molded me and made me get my concept of life together and understand that in 10 years, whether I talk to my daughter from a business office, a jail cell, or a casket, my daughter will be 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So I need to do the best I can from 15 to 25 to put myself in a position where I can be in that office talking to her. I can make the decision of which place I be when I'm guiding her.
Right. And talk about, how you got your start, because I know you were, you had your own clothing brand, then you pivoted into music, but then you also went to school for 6 years for civil engineering, right? Or mechanical engineering, which I think is so crazy. I mean, that's a lot of pivots. Tell us about that.
Well, it's crazy because it's on the outside looking in, it looked like a pivot. But for me, my life was structured. I call it vertically integrated.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Everything that I do with an intent. And that intent has to go along with the ultimate goal, right? So when I was younger and I used to daydream in Flint, I used to imagine things I want to be when I grow up, right? And the top 3 things I said I wanted to be an engineer, I wanted to be a rapper, and I wanted to be a successful mogul, right? So I started thinking, okay, well, what position will those things fall in place for me, right? I'm like, well, if I become a rapper first, the chances of me becoming an engineer and doing all that stuff ain't likely. You know what I mean? And I was like, so let me go ahead and get the engineering out the way while I'm young. So I actually never went to high school. I got my GED when I was 16 and went straight to college.
Wow.
Because in middle school, before I had my daughter, I took nothing serious. I adapted to my environment. You know what I mean? So once I had my daughter and I found out I was already 2 grades behind, and I found out there's a program that I remember like just that the counselor told me. He said, well, he was like, well, if you go to school right now, you're gonna take 4 years to graduate, so you will be 20. I was like 15 going on 16. Then he was like, but this is a program you can do and be in college in 6 months. I was like, again, I'm intent driven. I was like, my intent is to get in college, so what I need all this for? You know what I mean? So I got my GED, went straight to college, and then because I never went to high school, I treated college like high school.
Okay.
I used to go in there smelling like weed, pants falling, but then one of my teachers helped me understand to take it more serious, So the funny thing is I actually caught my first time being arrested my first day of college. So that kind of set me back. But then that woke me up. That was God's way of saying, look, you can either be in this cell or be in this classroom. They both 4 walls, different door. Right. You know what I mean? Different opportunities and what it leads to. So I end up taking it more serious. Got my degree. Well, another thing, I'm vertically integrated. So just to get back to the question of the pivots, when I was in college, I took welding as an elective rather than taking like French or art and all that. And then I was a welder as I was getting my degree in engineering because I knew that I would have to deal with metals and it's in the same field, right? So once I got that degree and I started working as an engineer, the way I was able to pivot from that into music is because, again, I knew I wanted to be an artist. So my 3 goals: engineer, artist, mogul. So I said, okay, I could be an engineer, then be an artist, then that helped me be a mogul, right? So I did engineering for about 4 years, and I applied for a job in California. And well, no, this is how God necessity pushed you into places. When I was working for a job in Texas as an engineer, I experienced a little bit of racism, you know what I mean? Because I helped build up the company, got employees in there. But then when it was time for me to get paid, what I was supposed to get paid as an engineer, they was paying me as a welder. Oh, wow. Then we had a problem, right? So I decided, you know what? I'm going to quit and I'm going to focus on music. At that time, I was having a child. My baby mama tell me she in my ear, she's fearful. She's a Gemini, so she's scared of everything.
Not a Gemini.
Yeah, she's a Gemini. So she in my ear like, who quits the engineering job to be a rapper? And I'm like, you don't know my life. I been had this plan. You know what I mean? But it was God's way of pushing me into what I needed. So what happened was me and her ended up separating. But I said, you know what? Maybe I should get a job. I applied for a lot of jobs, got a job accepted in California. They moved me there, worked there for 2 years. Then I ended up finding, I don't want to say a plug because people will take that out the drug way, but I found the plug in the music. And that's what got me into the music. So.
Well, that is a really, I mean, that's a lot, you know, but I think it inspires a lot of people because, you know, for you to be where you are today and to see all of those things that took, you know, place behind the scenes is like, it wasn't easy, but this is, and it's still not going to be easy. You know, it's always going to be a journey, but, you know, this is my story. This is it. And this is how I'm influencing the world. And I think, you know, having people like you, it's an inspiration, you know.
My main thing is stay focused on your vision. Because like I said, when I was younger, the thing that got me out of Flint and helped me survive and stay alive to this day is my imagination. I've always imagined where I wanted to be, no matter how difficult the situation was. I would imagine, well, when I'm 30, I'm gonna be here, right? So even when I got locked up and caught cases, I said, nah, God told me I'll be here when I'm 30, so I ain't about to get this 15 years. Something ain't right. And I went to the law library, studied, and got out. You know what I mean? But if I didn't hold on to my imagination and my vision of what I could be, I never would have got anywhere.
Yeah. So you, or for those who are creatives or looking to be entrepreneurs who may feel like giving up because it's not a linear path, what would you tell to those people who feel like giving up, and what kept you going during those lonely nights? You know, what kept you, you know, pushing?
Again, it was more so just the faith. You know what I mean? The faith that as long as I'm still breathing, everything is possible. You know what I mean? And perspective. Learning how to look at everything in life as all good. Like I learned in church one time, God said, he said, when you ask a Christian, how's it going? They say it's all good. He like, what I mean is, even when it's bad, it's in good for God's will. You know what I mean? So just learn to look at everything that happened in your life. Nothing negative happens. It's all meant for you to get to where you're going.
All right, you all. Well, that was the first half of our interview here with Betterleaf CEO and creator Deonte, aka David Pablo, in the building right here in the Trensetta Lounge. But we're gonna keep this thing moving forward. We do have more coming up with him right here on Hits 92.3 and First Class TV right here on Roku, right here on the Trensetta Lounge, coming up right here with your girl Cammy. So definitely keep it locked. But like I said, we're gonna keep this thing moving forward right here with your favorite host, holding it down for you almost the weekend. Coming up, I'm going to be checking in with the T because, you know, I am the one and only plug. We're going to be talking about some Riri. We're also going to be talking about gamers and how it might not be a good idea to be a gamer. Stay tuned for that. Also, did you hear that Candace Dillard was in the ATL? So for those who are tuning in, I got some snoop on her and a performance she did that's causing a lot of rave on the streets. Also use that hashtag Trensetta Lounge. Tweet me. I do repost and I do talk back. And also stay tuned for the key song, which is Sunshine by our girl Lotto, Big Energy herself. Right now we have Doja Cat. We'll get into it right here on Hits 92.3 and First Class TV. We'll be right back.